Hey everybody, it's Brian with FishingNet.com, and I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, but just thought of it the other day. I'm fishing the Illini division of the BFLs this year, trying to qualify to come back down here to Kentucky and Barkley Lakes for the regional, and thought, man, I should have been kind of documenting the whole thing, and so I'm getting a little late start. We're already 3 tournaments into the season, so what I'm going to do is basically recap the first 3, and then the next one's this coming weekend, so I'll do kind of a little bit more as to what's going on prior. We're going to go up and pre-fish on Friday, and I'll just kind of keep track of that, and then we'll do a recap of it at some point after we get back. So, but anyhow, like I said, we're 3 deep into it now this year. The first one was up on Rend Lake. The schedule goes Rend, up to Shelbyville, Galconda on the Ohio River, back to Rend again this coming weekend, and then back up to Shelbyville for the Super Tournament. And so Rend being our first one, I had been there once about 3 years ago. I went to the first one up there, got drawn boater on boater, which was fine, didn't really know the lake. Flipped up a big fish behind the guy, and wound up it came out, had it coming, and it got back behind the motor and broke me off. That one kind of hurt because it would have been a big fish for the tournament and would have put me in, oh goodness, 12th or 15th place, so I would have got a check for that and a check for big bass, but that's kind of how it goes. So now we're back up there again this year, and again the first tournament was on Rend, and went up and spent 2 days up there. Rend Lake's one of those lakes you really don't need to go practice. It's just kind of, you just go and go fishing, because a lot of what you find in practice doesn't really happen during the tournament and so on and so forth. But I just wanted to get a good feel for the lake, so when I was running around, kind of knew where I was going and what I was looking at. So went up, and practice was so-so. I mean, it kind of went the way I figured Rend Lake would. Thursday, caught probably half a dozen fish, a couple keepers, a few short fish, but got an idea kind of what to do, what to look for. Went back Friday and checked some different stuff, just kind of did some other things, and that's really not that big of a lake to do a lot of running around on, so I just kind of spent one time below the bridge, and there's a bridge that kind of cuts it in half. I spent the second day on the other side of it, and found a little bit of fish doing both things. Didn't really know what I should do for sure, but I wound up running north and went into one of the bigger bays on the north end, and pretty much was either going to flip or throw a moving bait, either a crankbait or a spinnerbait. And got up there, and there's probably, by the time, I don't even remember what boat draw we were, by the time we got up there, we were probably about the 7th, 8th boat in this area, which is typical of Rend. And we just kind of hunkered down, and I told them, I said, we're going to take our time, we're going to flip everything, we're going to crank everything, you don't want to miss a twig up there. And we fished around, and we just never really got bit that well. We finally went behind another guy that I was watching on the one side, and he was absolutely picking everything apart, flipping, and I thought, well, we've already flipped down this side, and he's flipped, down his side. I picked up a moving bait. And you'd think a moving bait behind somebody flipping wouldn't be the best way to go about it, but I wasn't probably 20 yards behind him and caught my one and only keeper of the day on a spinnerbait and flipped him up in the boat. And I mean, lo and behold, he measured. Wasn't a big keeper, but it was points, and that's kind of what I was going for in this whole thing. I know all those other guys know the lake so much better, and all of them. And I just figured I'm just going to go up there. If I can get one fish in every tournament, I'd qualify. The Illini division's a really, really tough division. I think the only one tougher is probably Ohio, where you can truly blank 1 or 2 tournaments, maybe even 3. And as long as you catch fish in one of the other ones and the Super Tournament, you've got a good chance of making it to the regional. And so I was tickled pink that I got that one, but man, I had that one, and we still had half a day left. I thought, goodness, we get a couple more, and we got a shot at maybe even a check. As tough as that can fish. And we ran around the rest of the day and checked everything that I had caught a fish on in practice. And I mean, we caught a couple more short fish during the day, and that was pretty much the extent of it. And I think I had one more real, Probably should have kept it, but I didn't want to lose that other fish and not weigh anything in and wind up with a 0 during the tournament. So we wound up just, we covered a lot of water and made a lot of casts and just wound up catching that one fish on that spinnerbait that weighed in. And I was the first one, got weighed in and got the heck out of there. And I had the smallest, I think the smallest weight for anybody that caught a fish, but that put me, I think, like 53rd out of 100 and some boats. So just to let you know how tough it was. But that got us started. Guy had me sitting 53rd place, or 53rd, 55th, somewhere in there for the beginning one, and then the next tournament we were off to Shelbyville. So I'll recap that one here in the next video. But that was the recap of our fun trip up on Rend Lake.